Well. Rohit Raju here, back with another Raju's Rants, and my God, we're talking Andor Season 2. Season 2. Now, I'm not going to lie, I'm going to be honest with you. Season 1 did not grab me like it grabbed a lot of other people. I liked Season 1. I identified the quality in Season 1. I would not sit here and say it was bad. It was very slow for me. It was a very slow burn. Too slow for me. I still enjoyed it, but I didn't love it. But I would never sit here and say it sucked. It wasn't Star Wars, none of that stuff. There were times it didn't feel like Star Wars to me, but that's, I'm never going to insult anyone that likes that show, right? And I still liked it. I just didn't love it like everybody else. Season 2, however, is some of the best TV and some of the best Star Wars I've ever seen. Now, let me get this out of the way. There are three types of fans, and it's like this with a lot of things nowadays, and I'm sure if you've listened to any of my videos, you've heard me talk about it. You have the fans that are super pretentious, extremely pedestal standing, like, oh, we like Andor. You just don't get it if you don't like it. We're intelligent. Like, just really, like, their shit don't stink, annoying. Like, cool, you like the show. That's awesome. But then you have that other side of the fan base. This is stupid. This isn't Star Wars. More like Andor. I'm never going to watch this. Blah, 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 blah. Like those types of fans who are just brain dead dumb. And then you have me, fans that are right in the middle. Like, yeah, I understand why you didn't like it, but I loved it. And I do understand why people don't like Andor. A lot of times when someone watches Star Wars, it's a spectacle, right? Swashbuckling, adventure, mysticism, lightsabers, space battles. It's a lot of that, so I get it. I get that. Andor is not like that. It's like a spy thriller. It takes its time. It is a slow burn, but I really feel like, especially the last 6 episodes of Season 2 are some of the best Star Wars I've ever seen. Now, the first 3 episodes of Season 2, it was fine. It didn't really catch me. It didn't grab me. I was like, yeah, okay, this is cool. It was fun. There was a few things that I really liked. I am going to go into spoilers. I'll be saying stuff, so if you haven't watched it, I would maybe say dip out. But I was bummed when Brasso died. I really liked his character in Season 1. And when he died, I was kind of really upset. They had like the SA scene, and I can't say what the actual word, because YouTube's weird about that. I didn't mind it because I knew the vibe Andor was going with. I saw a lot of people have a very staunch opinion on it. I understand why they figure like this should not be in Star Wars. I get it. I do understand it. It didn't bother me at all. I didn't, I thought it was just another way of pointing out how the Empire they're horrible people. They're, it's like Nazi Germany. And in this show, the Empire was scary. They were very scary. They were very ruthless. Stormtroopers barely missed. There was fear there. It was like a real Gestapo. It was fear. Like in a few episodes later on, they're taking innocent people in the streets and just shooting them. Men and children. It's women. It's lawless. It's supposed to be law, but it's lawless. They are ruling everything with an iron fist. So when I see stuff like that scene with Bix, I expect that, because that's how low the Empire is. That's how scummy they are. And it's funny, like, to me, this series should show you that they are on the wrong side of the war. And I understand some people are like, oh yeah, but shades are gray, blah, blah, blah. Not when it comes to stuff like that, and you don't see the rebels doing stuff like that. So that's where I stand there. But yeah, the first arc, I thought when he crashed to that planet, or he went to that one planet, and there were those one rebels there. That was just kind of dumb to me. But then after that was done, it got really good in my opinion. the stuff with Serial and Dedra, checking Serial's mom. I liked them as a weird couple. It was a weird thing there. It seemed like she cucked him a lot, but whatever. She was the domineering mother figure. But I like how Serial grew towards the end. And all these characters, you watch all these characters grow. The writing was so good, the direction, the acting, the fact that they filmed on location and didn't use a bunch of the volume. This was a grade A show. This is how every Star Wars show should be. I don't mean the tone and the seriousness. I mean the quality. The quality of writing, acting. Could you have imagined the Obi-Wan Kenobi show that was like this? Again, I don't mean the tone and the seriousness. I mean the grittiness, at least. Because you had a lot of PTSD you could have dealt with Obi-Wan there. Filming on location, not using the volume where it looks like you're just filming at a backlot somewhere at a construction site. Like, man. And this is why I get mad at Star Wars, because they dropped the ball so many times. But Andor, especially Season 2, in my opinion, was a home run. The character growth you see in so many of the characters is amazing. I believe her name was Faye, Mon Mothma's cousin. She's very stone cold in the very first season and the beginning of the second season. And by the end, the war and loss has changed her. You see her how she is. Same thing with Clea. You see her backstory between her and Luthen. Luthen went out exactly how you thought he would. That whole storyline was great. It was just such a really good show. It was so well done. And then the build-up with Gorman, you knew some shit was going to go down. And then when it actually went down, and they're chanting in the town square by the monument. I liked how they didn't mess with the lore too much. They mentioned the Gorman massacre, but they changed it to the Tarkin massacre, and then they actually do a Gorman massacre. But they're chanting in defiance in the town square, and the way the Empire set that up, like they needed that spark, and that spark was sending out the rookie guys who they knew they were going to freak out because they weren't used to that crowd control. Then the the Empire sniper, shoots one of their guys, so it makes it look like it's the Gormans, and then all hell breaks loose. That was insane. The fear of the K2 droids, how terrifying they were. That was awesome. When they started singing instead of chanting, they knew like something wasn't right, and they start chanting, and they know that their world is getting taken over. And then when you find out, I mean, we all knew what they were there for, but when like Cassian finds out, and poor God, I can't remember that dude's name. He was it Lonnie? He was the mole for the rebels, but he was with the Empire. And when he tells Luthen what the actual plans were, that it was all the energy scam was all a cover up, and they were mining these planets for materials to build the Death Star, the super weapon. And then once Luthen, Luthen figures, I gotta kill this guy. I can't let him go, because what if he gets made? And then they torture him and he ruins everything. So Luthen kills the guy. Luthen, to me, is the gray. He's the area of gray, because he does some terrible shit, but he does it for a greater cause. He's the terrible, he's the gray. Well, if you want to say, oh, well, this is the gray, he is. You know what I mean? Where I know someone was trying to say Deidre was. No, Deidre was still on the wrong side. She was just passionate about it. And she wasn't, where her and Luthen were talking at the end there, and he was like, we want freedom. And she's like, you don't want freedom, you want chaos. You need order. And that order, that's not what you need. Yeah, you need order, but not like they're trying to do it with an iron fist. So it's not, when you're killing people, innocent people, and you're ruling them with fear, that's not the way to go about it, So to me, they made it quite clear that the Empire was evil in this. And then Luthen was the gray, and then the other, the rebels on Yavin, they were more of the good. But just the whole show, man, it was so good. The Gorman massacre, the way the K2 units were. I know they changed the comic book lore, and that's why I never, like, they always say, ooh, they had said, Lucasfilm had said, that all the books and all the comics from now on were going to be canon, and they're not, because they change shit constantly. But I did like the meeting with K2 and Andor. K2 was great the last 3 episodes. Those last 6 episodes were some of the best Star Wars. The stuff with the Gorman Massacre, the stuff with, jeez. Now I can't remember. When he gets K2, and then, of course, all the stuff with Luthen. That whole episode, Andor's not even in it. It's just him and Clea. That episode was great. And then them trying to get Clea out of Coruscant with K2 coming to the rescue. And then the way it ends and how it kind of bleeds right into, what's it called? Rogue One. Like, I want to watch the last episode again, then watch Rogue One. The show is just stellar. And even if it wasn't Star Wars, it's just stellar TV. Forrest Whitaker, so great as Saw Gerrera. You kind of see his descent into madness, and every time he's on screen, he portrays the paranoid, schizophrenic, insanity of Saw Gerrera so well. It's just awesome. Genevieve O'Reilly as Mon Mothma, her speech at the Senate, and then her escape, that was awesome. Andor, a character you did not care about, and I'll never forget when they mentioned they were going to do a show, everyone's like, who gives a shit about Andor? We know what happens to him. And then Diego Luna, who I'm a huge fan of as an actor, loved him in the Narco shows. He kills it. You see his character grow, how he's no longer a lapdog, and he's thinking for himself, but he's still doing what's right for the rebellion. Bix, my God, at the end when you find out she's pregnant, she does get away, and she had such a shit, like she had ran into so many things when she was getting tortured, and then she almost got SA'd, and then just she escapes, she makes the decision for Andor, and then the sadness knowing that Andor is never going to see and know his kid. It's like, man, there's so many levels to this show. Hats off to Tony Gilroy. I know his brother, I think Dan Gilroy. Everyone involved, the acting, the score. It just, it honestly was some of the best TV and some of the best Star Wars. Season 2, tremendous. I can't say more positive things about it. There was a couple nitpicks I had that I didn't like. I didn't like how the Gormans were pretty much like French. I wasn't a fan of that. Like, that was like on the nose. So on the nose. Even their language sounded very Francois. But I wasn't a fan of that because I thought it was too on the nose. But that's a small nitpick. There was something else I was going to cover. Oh, and then I hate how people try to use this as, oh, see, there's politics. People say there's no politics in Star Wars. This show shows you that it's a universal politics. It relates today. It relates to years ago. It's going to relate to the future, just like the original trilogy and just like the prequels. It's an original, universal, not original, but it's universal politics. It's a timeless political theme that everyone can relate to. It's not someone's personal politics. And for some reason, people still try to make that argument, and they just want to disregard the fact that it's not like the Acolyte where they're on every PR interview is about the patriarchy and, strong female this. It's not about that. It's about the characters. It's about the empire. It's about the struggle. The PR was about that. Like, people, they can't wrap their heads around that shit. No one gives a rat's ass about your personal politics and what you're pouring into it unless you can interweave it so well like the best storytellers can. Stop doing these interviews, your PR, and that's what it's all about. You lose people. Andor, even the grifters, even the people that are super negative, like Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic, those people, they are praising this. It's because it's a universal theme that catches everyone, and it's well written, and it's well done. And it sucks that it's not going to get the audience it should. I did see, before I started recording this, I looked up the viewership, and it looks like it's climbing. So that's awesome. I know the viewership was kind of low when it first started, but I think word of mouth got out about how good it was, and people are starting to watch it. So that's really good because I do feel like this show deserves it. I know it was the most expensive show they made. It shows because it's very beautiful. It's very visually stunning. But I don't think it made that money back, which is kind of a bummer. And the only reason I got a season 2, from what I hear, they fought for that season 2. And then it was already greenlit before the viewership came out for season 1. So it was already, they were going to get a season 2 no matter what. But I heard, if I remember when this was announced years ago at a celebration, they said it was going to be at least 4 seasons. And that's why it's only 2, and I'm sure that's why they did the 3-episode arc. So each episode was a year, because they wrapped up 4 years in one season in 12 episodes. And that was some of the things that would happen. The next arc would happen, and they would be in the middle of something, and I'd be like, wait, did this happen? Did I just miss it? But no, it's just, it happened off screen. Which I do think they did a good job of correlating, but that kind of threw me out of it, took me out of it a couple times. There was a few times when I'm like, is this something I should know about? And you're not. It's just something that happened off screen. But other than that, I'm just rambling now. I really love the show. Season 2 was great. Like I said, Season 1 I thought was fine. But Season 2, especially the last 6 episodes, some of the best Star Wars I've ever seen. And something that I will rewatch. And I hope whatever comes next is at least in the same vein and quality. And that's something, too, that really pisses me off. You have these people now that are like, oh, yeah, this show's way better. It doesn't have stupid lightsabers. Like, what do you mean stupid lightsabers? How the fuck do you think you got into Star Wars in the first place? Like, people act like... It really makes me mad, like, they're trying to shit on what came before it now. It's like, if there was no mysticism, the Force, the swashbuckling adventure style of the original trilogy, you wouldn't have this shit. So stop trying to crap on Rebels and all this other stuff. I hate when people get that recency bias and just get super pretentious about something. It's like when Rick and Morty first came out, and some of the fans were so pretentious that they tried to insult other fans if they didn't understand this, or if they had a theory that was not the correct theory because scientifically it doesn't make sense. Like, why don't you shut the fuck up? You're so stupid. I hate people like that. If you enjoy the show, great. If you don't, fine. And in the same sense, too, you can't sit here and say the show sucks. It does not suck. Like, even though I wasn't high on Season 1, there's no way I was going to say the show sucked, because it didn't suck. It's a well-written, crafted show. But that's it for me. I hope you guys liked Season 2 of Andor. If you haven't watched it, please give it a watch. Hopefully I didn't spoil too much for you. But it's excellent. It's some of the best TV and Star Wars that you will see. All right, thanks for joining me, and I hope you listened to all of it and stayed all the way to the end. I know this was kind of a long-winded one, but I really like this show, and I really want to sing its praises. All right, take care.